91.7 FM.
Good morning. Good morning. Today is Monday, July the 20th, and this is Joe Forte, the City Manager with the City of Holly Hill. And I'm sitting with Mayor John Penny and our Deputy City Manager, Planning Director Brian Walker. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, Joe.
Good morning, Joe.
So today we're going to go over a couple of things like we've done in the past. We'll go over our agendas, but then another little special announcement at the end of the meeting we'll talk about a little bit. We talked a lot about our events at the last meeting, what was coming up, and so today we don't have much events to talk about, but we'll talk about the agenda. And what we have on our last agenda, we approved a couple of things, our Fuel Wex card, which is what the employees fill their city vehicles up with. And we did a lease agreement with the YMCA, and we're hoping that the YMCA in the next couple of years will have a benefactor that will give some money to the organization, and we'll be able to make some huge improvements to that facility, bring it up to today's standards, make it much nicer and worthwhile for people to go there to work out and use the facility. We did have 1 year, the last year of a 3-year contract for the police officers in the PBA. We set our tentative stormwater rate. We're going from $96 a year to $99 a year. It's not a lot of money, the $3, but that money goes towards the overall operational costs for running this stormwater system. And that includes operations, administration, capital projects. All of that is lumped in to that one spot. And then we did an ECHO grant. We updated the ECHO grant resolution for the pier at Ross Point Park. So, Mayor, your thoughts on that? We are putting in a pier. The previous pier was a little further out, maybe 50 feet further out, and it was in kind of like the shape of a backward 7. And the one we're proposing now is a little bit closer, but it's in the shape of a T, and will allow for 3 pavilions on the end for more of an observation of what's happening in the water than a fishing pier like we have at Sunrise Park.
Yes, some of the comments that communities made is that they'd like it to go out farther, like the old one did for fishing. But honestly, I live less than a block away from that park. You could walk halfway across the river in that location.
Yeah, you're not getting any deeper.
It's not getting any deeper. So the best thing I've seen caught off of that pier when it was there is a catfish.
Yeah.
And so the one that we have off of LPGA, we have the boat ramp there, kind of ties in with fishing. That pier goes out quite a bit further. The pier's not that much longer. It's just the land protrudes out into the river that much farther.
Much further, yeah.
So it's deeper. So that's going to be our fishing pier. I don't think there's any better place in Volusia County to watch a rocket launch than that pier. Because when you stand there now, when the dock is gone, you just look right over Marina Grande. It comes to the right of Marina Grande, and then you see it go over. So it'd be nice to go out 100 feet out into the river and see those launches, because it used to be special when we were kids, but now it's once a week, once every 10 days. There's a launch going up, and it's quite a sight.
Well, once this pier gets built, we can go ahead and advertise when there are shuttles going off. And
they're not shuttles anymore, Joe.
I know they're rockets. They might be shuttles again one day. Might be shuttles. But anytime anything launches out of the Cape, we can go ahead and start to promote it and get people to come down to our observation pier and launch it.
And there's nothing to say that you can't throw a shrimp on a hook and throw it out there and see if someone swims by.
Yeah, that's a good point. We're calling it an observation pier, but it doesn't prevent anyone from fishing if they would like to.
Right.
So.
We just ask them that they clean up after themselves.
Yeah. And then we did a second reading of a rezoning down at 988 3rd Street. And Brian, maybe you can give us a quick update on what that was about.
Sure. This was a property that had what we call a B1 zoning, which is a very light intensity commercial zoning, but the property is surrounded by a property that has a B5 zoning, which is a more intense commercial zoning. It allows things like office buildings and restaurants and things of that nature. So the owner wanted to bring his property more into conformity with what is around him, and really, in a sense, it makes his property more valuable in that he's got more uses that are available to him. So we're not sure exactly what he wants to do with it, but the uses that he has that he's eligible for are things that would be of a benefit to the area, and so we thought that it was a good thing to support him in his effort to increase his uses.
Did anybody come out and complain about the zoning change, whether at the commission meeting or the planning board meeting?
No, I'm not aware of any complaints. There were some questions about it, but I think once those questions were answered, everyone was satisfied that it wasn't going to be detrimental to the area.
Good. Coming up on our meeting next week is a couple of items on the agenda already. Two of them deal with animal control, which is another area that actually Brian does oversee. One is the renewed contract with the Halifax Humane Society, and the fees for animals nowadays are just getting outrageous. But there's a lot of cost involved with taking in dogs and cats and how much it costs to care for them and treat them and get them ready for adoption. So we'll be able to hopefully contract with the Humane Society for another 2 years with an increase in the rates of 10% a year over those next 2 years, and work with Daytona Beach and Volusia County in anticipation that another facility will be built for them to take in these stray cats and dogs and do a spay-neuter program. So as we go through this process, we've got to work with Daytona Beach and Volusia County. I think Ormond Beach is going to be involved, South Daytona, maybe a couple of beachside communities to try to get this other facility built. But it's getting to be expensive. We have one of the few humane societies in the state of Florida that does an animal control service. Most of the other counties do their own animal control services separate and apart from the Humane Society. But any thoughts on that? And even the spay-neuter program, those costs are increasing, and we're spending probably almost $80,000 a year in animal control services dealing directly with animals, not including staff, not including materials. This is the Humane Society's cost to the city and to the residents, almost $80,000.
It's just surprising, irresponsible pet owners, and just the trickle-down effect, or ripple effect, I should say, that people, if you have a pet, I think you should keep it in your house. But people, cats especially, these are my cats, and then they don't spay them, they don't neuter them. It's an outside cat, they just feed it, and then the outside cat breeds, and then there's 7 more outside cats, and then the 7 turn into 49, and the 49 double and triple, and all of a sudden you got a problem. At my office complex, there's a neighboring property, and there are probably 12 residential units in there, and I bet there's 100 cats.
Wow.
And the cats come over into our office complex, and it's just, actually there was it's sad to say, but people try to be kind and feed them, and there's no trap, neuter, and release. It's not a registered colony. And actually last Thursday when I came to work, one was dead on US 1.
Yeah.
So people feed them thinking they're being kind-hearted, but all they're doing is keeping them healthy and making them breed. And then none of the cats are healthy. And we've had several cats that we found deceased on our side of the property that we have to, dispose of. And it's not fun.
Yeah, and the other thing they do is they attack the birds.
Yeah.
And we're losing some of the bird population in the area. So it's a tough thing to have to deal with. There's no easy answer. So we're doing the best we can working with the Humane Society, and we are involved with the spay-neuter program. Brian, you have information about the spay-neuter program that the city's involved with?
Yeah, so the spay-neuter program is something that really aims to reduce the cat population. It takes a cat from its location. The cat is either spayed or neutered. The ear is tipped so that we know that it has gone through the program, and then the cat is returned to the population where it came from but again, now without the ability to reproduce. So it's a good program. Probably could do better if we were able to capture more of the population. But so far, it's the only thing that we have in place, and it's working as best it can at this point.
Yeah, there's no perfect answer. The problem is, unless you catch them all, I think we started this 15 years ago, trap, neuter, and release.
A long time ago.
And so the theory was catch them, they can't reproduce, and then they'll live out their normal life cycle, and then 10 years from now, the cats will be gone. Well, the cats are still there because if you miss one cat,
right.
and it goes into heat, and then another cat from a mile away comes and they breed, I don't know how you stop it. But it's just it's people. I think it's information. We need to inform the people that they're not really helping the cats by feeding the cats. So it's tough.
Yeah. Another item coming up on our agenda is the Florida East Coast Railway crossing improvements. So a little bit of an anomaly this year. We had, the FEC was here first, and then cities built up around them. So when we have roads that cross the FEC railroad, as those crossings become deteriorated and they need to be improved or upgraded, and this is at the FEC's sole determination, they come in and they make improvements to them, and then they build the city for that. And I remember when the cost used to be $60,000, $80,000, $90,000. Now they're $150,000, $175,000 each crossing. So last year they were supposed to do 2 crossings, which were delayed and then bumped into this year. And then this year they scheduled 2 more crossings. So last year, which is earlier this year, they did Walker Street and what was it? 8th Street. They did 8th and Walker. And then they just notified us that they'll be doing 2nd Street and 10th Street. And 10th Street right over there by the pickleball, Pictona area. It's closed right now, and it's going through that upgrade. And then we get hit with that bill. So on the agenda next week, we're doing a budget amendment so that we can shift money into an account so that we can pay for that crossing. So again, very expensive crossings, beyond our control. We have to pay for them. We have to keep them updated and upgraded. So,
and the only solution we have, if we don't want to pay that bill, is
close it.
Every street will dead end at the railroad track, and that's just not feasible.
Right. And then we have the Happy Time Motel. That's down at the 400 block of Ridgewood Avenue. It's the brown building right now, brown buildings, I should say. And prior to that, they were multicolored painted buildings. And it's crossed hands. It's been sold several times, at least 2 or 3 times in the last couple of years. And we've been working with an owner who had all good intentions to have the buildings torn down and the property rebuilt. And initially they wanted to just work on updating and fixing the buildings that were on there. Then he came to the reasonable conclusion that it wasn't worth fixing, that it should be torn down and build a new complex. Well, we've been working with the owners for quite some time to have the property demolished, and it's just not getting anywhere. So this has gone through code enforcement several times. It's gone to the special master. So now at this point, we're going back to, and the special master agreed that the property should be demolished. So now we're going to the commission next week for the commission to give staff direction to go ahead and move forward in agreement with the special master and have the property torn down. So that's an expense to the taxpayers of Holly Hill. However, when we do that, that actual hard cost is placed on a lien on the property, which will not be reduced. And we'll also put it on the tax roll so that anybody that has to pay the taxes on the property, where it's the existing owner or future owner, will have to pay that amount back. So we'll get that money back. But in the meantime, we'll work to get that property leveled, cleaned up, look a lot better than what it does right now, because right now that's probably the biggest eyesore on Ridgewood Avenue.
It's definitely an eyesore. And I have to, when you started talking about it, Joe, I had a flashback to a previous mayor, Bill Arthur, who we all know and love. And he told me about the CRA, which is basically a US 1 corridor. And we talked about blight,
right?
And to improve the blight. And he told me that the definition of blight, in his opinion, was if the property is more valuable without the dilapidated buildings on it, that's blight. And
Right.
so, our community's been driving past that property for years, and we probably get the most complaints of any property on US 1 about that property. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? So I'd rather see grass there than that dilapidated building, and flashback
Right.
to Bill Arthur's theory.
In fact, that property was owned by John Rainey a while ago, in addition to what used to be the trailer park at 331 Ridgewood. And the trailer park was demolished and taken out, and he separated the parcels because initially, if you want to go back many years ago, that property was zoned for, I think, six
or seven-story
buildings.
townhouses, apartments, yeah.
So that's gone away. He separated the parcels. Somebody bought the corner parcel, and they have plans to put in, they were called Zen Living Apartments, and that's kind of stalled. Those owners are now, they've got the property all entitled. They had the plans submitted and reviewed, but they're not moving forward, and I think it's for any number of reasons. I think costs have gone up beyond what they were expecting. I think import on product has gone up, and they weren't expecting those costs. So they're trying to sell that, and hopefully somebody will be interested to buy that under the plans that have already been reviewed. The Happy Time, which was separated, like I said, it's gone through a couple of owners, and it too is stalled, but I think we're going to have to nudge that along by helping get that property torn down.
And Joe, can I just add that, the very purpose of a CRA is to eliminate blight. That's its mission statement. So we're really acting in harmony with the overall mission statement of the CRA. And this will be a great step in getting toward that, fulfilling that purpose.
Right, exactly. So hopefully we'll get that cleaned up. And then in the meantime, you've got the storage units on Mason and Daytona that are moving along quite well. You have Crash Champions on 8th and Nova Road that are out of the ground. They're coming up. We've got the Murphy Oil at the corner of LPJ and Ridgewood. That's out of the ground.
Have you ever seen a construction site that active and that go vertical that quickly?
They're gonna be done in a couple of months because they're building a prefabricated building. So all of a sudden one day you're going to come in and then there's going to be buildings on the property. It's going to be incredible, and I think that's in the next 4 to 6 weeks. Yeah. So before you know it, there'll be landscaping, and what used to be our worst property on Ridgewood Avenue is going to become one of the better looking properties.
And we're talking about, actually I noticed it yesterday, the sign there, we're talking about changing that gateway sign.
Right, entryway.
That bush around that sign, it must be 15 feet tall now.
Well overgrown. So we met, Brian and I and Steve Youngst, our facilities deputy director of Public Works, who oversees the facilities. We met last week to talk about trying to coordinate a landscape project for that intersection in conjunction with what Murphy Oil is doing, because we don't want our landscaping to tower theirs or theirs to insult ours or vice versa. So we're trying to get a coordinated effort. And if they'd like to do that, I think it would be wonderful to make it one big cohesive landscape project. But if not, we're going to move forward with our own gateway, entranceway, landscape project there. And Mayor, I showed you on Friday.
Yeah.
I came across a set of plans for a 14-foot tall gateway Holly Hill entrance sign for that corner. And it doesn't look bad. I think it would fit there just perfectly fine. So we'll get those refreshed, and maybe we can make this move a little bit quicker for us. And comments on the RV park. That's coming pretty close.
I don't know how many plants they've planted there, but thousands, literally thousands. I think they're wrapping up landscaping over there. I would imagine the next thing is sod. And then you'll see RVs over there coming pretty soon.
Yeah, so that's exciting. That'll bring a lot more people into this community. Somebody made a comment during the World Cup. I forgot which country they were from, and they said, if you read or you listen to the news about the United States, it's horrible, but if you come here, it's wonderful. And I think that can be said about Holly Hill. Yeah. People say things about Holly Hill that sound horrible, but when you come here and you actually see it, and you live here and you participate here and you own a business here, you see how wonderful this city really is.
Right.
And I think that's our mantra. Don't listen to what you hear out there. Come here and visit Holly Hill and take a look for yourself and see what's happening.
Definitely.
All right, so the last thing I want to bring up, one of the reasons why Brian is here is the change in administration in the city of Holly Hill. So I will be retiring on September 4th. My last commission meeting will be on August the 11th. So I had an unexpected health event that has convinced me that retiring is the right thing to do. So kind of a bittersweet moment for me. I didn't think I was ready to retire yet, but when God puts a plan in front of you, you tend to want to listen to it. So I'd rather listen to his plan while I'm here on earth than to face him and him to say, told you, you should have done something different. So my last day will be Friday the 4th. My last commission meeting will be Tuesday the 11th. And we have Brian Walker has been my deputy city manager. He's the planning director and he served as the deputy manager. And I've been working with him over the last year or so, kind of showing him what the job is like, and more purposefully in the last couple of months on a daily basis, kind of giving him some training and information at my level of what I do on a day-to-day basis, hour-to-hour basis, to kind of get him prepared to step into that role in an interim capacity. So we know that we have elections coming up on August the 18th, Tuesday the 18th, and we will certainly have 2 new commissioners this year. We have Damon Sansom, who ran unopposed in District 4, so he's already going to be taking that seat come November, I forgot the date, November 11th. And then we have 2 people running for office in District 2. We have Mike Serbo and Carmen Ruiz, and they will be running for that seat. They'll be elected. One of them will be selected on that August meeting date. And so you'll have 2 new commissioners in taking the seats in November. You currently have 2 commissioners that have only been there less than 2 years. So really, we're going to have a pretty fresh commission come November. You'll have 2 commissioners with 2 years of experience and 2 fresh commissioners. And then, of course, Mayor, you with your seniority. We'll have to help guide them and steer them. And then on top of that, we'll have Brian sitting in there as the interim manager I think timing for that was right. I don't think it would be fair for me to come in with a new commission and then leave a month later. So I think it's better that Brian take over as the interim now, work with the existing commission, and then transition into a new commission. And then, of course, we talked about the options that the commission has moving forward, whether, Brian will be in that seat through the transition of the new commission, probably through the first of the year, and then the commission will make decisions if they want to extend Brian's interim time period, if they want to offer him the job, or if they want to change and go outside and hire somebody completely different. So all options are open for the commission at that time.
Yeah, it's change. We as humans don't like change. We're uncomfortable with change. But I have to thank you, Joe, for your years of service to the community. Starting in the fire department and working your way up, and leaving us for a little bit and coming back. But you have definitely left the city in a better position than when you found it. And we've been working together for many years,
right?
And have been talking about this transition. It's sooner than later. I mean, sooner than we thought.
Right.
And so I have to applaud you for putting an excellent team of department heads in place, so that there's no panic. The only one that's going to panic is Brian, because we thought he had another 2 years to prepare for this, and you're giving him 2 months. So he's going to be out there running on that hamster wheel, like the dog chasing the car, going, "Oh my God, what have I done? I can't catch that car." Yeah. But it's a 24-hour day, 7-day-a-week job, and on behalf of all the residents, well, 99% of the residents.
Yeah, there's a couple out there.
There's a couple out there. But, 99% of the residents, all of our team that we work with on a daily basis, and our entire city commission, we owe you a huge gratitude. we owe your lovely wife, Dora, and your family huge gratitude because for years, when there was an emergency, whether it was the fires in '98 or the hurricanes of every other year, you were at City Hall. Yep. You sent your family away for safety, but your heart and your soul has always been in Holly Hill. And, I'm going to miss you. We're going to miss you. And but we're going to be in good hands. Like we talked about, the city was here 100 years before you got here. It'll be 100 years after you leave.
It certainly will.
It'll be here. But I'll shut up. You want to add anything to that, Brian?
Well, it has been for me an absolute privilege to be able to work with you, Joe. I worked with you in Seminole County, and I thoroughly enjoyed working with you then. And, it's when you left and you came back to Holly Hill, you said to me, if ever I have a need, I'll reach out to you. And I always knew that if you did reach out to me, that I would leave and I would come to the city of Holly Hill to work with you. And I'm glad that I've had that opportunity. I remember when I was talking to you initially about coming from my previous jurisdiction to Holly Hill, I asked you, I said, what's the politics like? And you explained to me that we had a very good commission, that we had a good mayor, that we had a harmonious situation, and that has absolutely proven to be true. So I've thoroughly enjoyed working with you. I am looking forward to this opportunity to be able to work in the capacity as interim and hopefully prove myself to the commission and to the citizens. But thank you so much for everything that you've done, not just for the city, but for your staff and for me.
Yeah, Brian, I think you're in a good place. You'll have the best opportunity to make a go of it. I met with Brian last week and told him that the city's in as good a position as I could possibly leave it in. The budgets are in good position. Our audits have been good. We've got the equipment and the personnel pretty much up to full capacity. So, with that said, I am going to miss the city of Holly Hill. I'm going to miss the employees more than anything. The residents that I built relationships with over my 36-year career as I started out, as the mayor said, in the fire department. I did go to Seminole County for 7 years, where I came back with more experience that I got to bring to Holly Hill. So it's going to be a bittersweet goodbye, but something I think it needs to be done. But on another note, like I said, my last day will be August 11th, the last commission meeting. So anybody that wants to come to that meeting and watch me step down the dais for the last time. And then on August 8th, we'll have a little get-together at the Copper Bottom from 6 to 8.
From 6 to 8.
Mary,
Stop in. We'll have snacks and refreshment there. Pay your respects to Joe and his family. Give him a hug. And just hang out with the community. It should be a really great night.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that very much, and I think it's going to be a wonderful evening.
Great.
All right.
You did so good.
Thank you, Sherry.
Have a good day.
Shelley.